How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Strictly Nintendo podcast where we are going to talk about Star Fox. And it's really going to kind of be in general, but, about my experiences with the series and how I got into it, why I love it, so forth. And just kind of sharing that fun memory going down memory lane because we are only a few short weeks away from Star Fox Zero hitting the Wii U, and I couldn't be more excited. This is the first, if we're talking home consoles, the first Star Fox game since 2005's Assault, which, I haven't experienced as much as I'd love to, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm really excited about the fact that it's been said that Star Fox Zero is a reimagining of Star Fox 64, which is exciting to me because Star Fox 64 was the game in the series that really hit home, like really solidified it as something that I was passionate about. While I love the original game, that's how I got introduced to the series, was the original Star Fox on SNES. But there was something about Star Fox 64 that just stood out more, that made more of an impact. But the Star Fox series has been a part of my life since the very first one on the SNES. The fact that Star Fox Zero is a reimagining of Star Fox 64 really excites me. And then also the two screen aspect. I mean, I'm really curious of how it's going to play. Having the third person point of view, seeing the ship in the environment on your big screen, but then having the first person point of view, the heads up display on the gamepad screen. I know there's going to be a learning curve, but it really gets my mind wondering how is that going to change how you're interacting with the levels, the enemies? What type of advanced strategies and interactions in combat is that going to unlock for you? Not to mention the fact that you'll have the transforming R-Wing, which is also going to change a good bit about how you interact with the levels, the enemies, and accomplish certain tasks. So I cannot wait for this game to come out. I'm really excited. This will be a day one pickup for me. And of course, we'll be talking about it in a near future podcast. But as I said, I did get into this game with the original game on the SNES, and obviously the big groundbreaking thing about it was the FX chip. That unlocked the capability of doing so much more in design with 2D and 3D graphics on the SNES. And while the game isn't mind blowing in graphics, I mean, if you compare it to the vast majority of games on the SNES, it was very rudimentary, very basic. But there was something appealing about the way it looked, and more so about how it played. It was a very unique experience. It's not like it was groundbreaking because, I mean, on the NES, you had Top Gun and you had games like Captain Skyhawk, so having a third person rear view jet fighter kind of game wasn't really anything special, but it was these interesting, endearing Nintendo created characters. Fox, Peppy, Slippy, and Falco. I mean, these were characters that for some reason they just grabbed your attention and appealed to you. They had fun interaction. You had times where there was a bogey on one of their tails, and now all of a sudden you have to stop what you're doing and try and save your partner. And that had a bearing on your final score of that level. And the game was actually pretty difficult. You had multiple pathways that you could get to Venom, the final stage, and it was very much arcade like in a sense because you only had so many lives. And when you died, the game was over and you're starting over from the beginning. It was very unforgiving. And even going back today and playing this game, which I've been doing because I was so excited about Star Fox Zero and having it in my mind so much as we get closer and closer to April 22nd. I had to grab the cartridge, throw it in my Retron 5, and get to playing. And it's amazing how much fun it is and how much it still stands up today. I mean, the graphics still have that unique look to them that for some reason you just dig. The graphics are a big part of that game and what makes that game. And then you have these characters. You have first person point of view, third person point of view. You're flying around massive amounts of obstacles. You're fighting many different types of enemies. It can get quite chaotic. You have different environments that you're going through and different bosses. And, it's one of these things that, like, first time I booted this up after God knows how many years, it's like I was getting my butt kicked. And I was like, oh man, I remember beating this game. I know I'm better at this. And it was a lot of fun to re experience that and get to play that all over again. And, the game it still holds up so well after all this time. But it was Star Fox 64 that really drove it home. I think it was because of the power, obviously, a significant step forward in the power of the hardware, which allowed for expanded experiences, things that just really kind of evolved that winning formula of Star Fox so well and allowed it to grow. And as I mentioned several times, I never owned a GameCube. So when I adopted the Wii U and my Wii became my Wii Cube, I made it a point to have Star Fox Adventures and Star Fox Assault in my library as quickly as possible, and both of them are in my library. I haven't played them as much as I'd like to. Obviously, Adventures is a very unique offering in this series because you're spending the majority of your time outside of the Arwing and you're running around on foot. And then you get to Assault, which is, of course, more back to the classic formula, having the Arwing and the different vehicles and different levels, but it's more that classic formula that made Star Fox what it was, the foundation of what that series was really founded on. So now we enter into the Wii U and we have significantly more powerful hardware in comparison to the GameCube, and we have a completely different way to interact with games with the gamepad. And this unlocks a lot of potential, which really makes me excited to see where this whole series is going to evolve to. And then hopefully it will be a success. And we'll see an offering on the next console, the NX, whenever that comes out. So it will be interesting to see where this series can go as the hardware continues to improve. And hopefully, with the demand that got Star Fox Zero on the Wii U, that will keep up momentum so we won't be waiting another 11 years for the next console offering. With all the talk of Star Fox Zero, with all the anticipation of this game coming to the Wii U, it really got me into the mode to go back and play the original game. Hopefully my N64 is okay. I'm actually, because I'm having so much fun playing the original one on my Retron, and obviously, unfortunately, the Retron 5 doesn't play N64 games. I'm really itching to break my N64 out of the Tupperware container that I have it in and clean it up and see if it works. And if it does, hooking that thing up and playing some Star Fox 64 and just really getting the opportunity to relive that game as well. And then hook up my Wii and play some Assault and Adventures. But we don't have a whole lot of time before Zero comes out. So I don't know if that's going to be possible. But one day, I might just take like a week off work and play the entire console series from start to finish. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, if at all, but that would most definitely be a vacation well spent. Now, I know that everybody here in this community comes from different backgrounds or different ages, have different gaming experiences, but we're all Nintendo fans. We all love Nintendo. And out of y'all who are really excited about Star Fox Zero coming out, this is just kind of a little cliff note of my experience, being introduced to the series from the original game, and this series being a big part of my life, with Star Fox 64 having the most impact on me as a gamer. What I'd like you to do is in the comments below, share your story with your fellow Nintendo gamers. Tell us, what was the first Star Fox game you played? Why do you love the series? Which of the games in the series made the biggest impact on you? And are you excited for Star Fox Zero? Now, if you haven't played Star Fox 64 before, being my favorite in the series, I highly recommend that you jump on the eShop, whether it's on the 3DS or the Wii U. You get it on Virtual Console because I think that you'd have a blast with it. It's so much fun. I'd really, really love to see Nintendo bring the original to Virtual Console as well. I think that these classic games, seeing the foundation and the evolution of this franchise, is really something that should be experienced by all Nintendo fans and by all Star Fox fans. And that'll do it for this episode of the Strictly Nintendo podcast. Until the next one, take care.